Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 195 of Build Your Stash and Craft. And today we are going to make, I'm going to call them reverse peg stamps. So just some nice little stamps, but they are going to be the reverse of a normal stamp. They'll be like the negative instead of the positive. And so we got these little blocks from the Dollar Tree, little foam blocks. And if you can't find these little foam blocks, you can always use your regular fun foam and just cut it into little squares. But these are nice because you can hold on to them. So, but what we're going to do is we are just going to put a design onto this little foam stamp by using some different things that we have. So we'll start with, oh look, there's a little hanger. That's cute. I forgot that I had that in there. We're just going to use some of our paper clips maybe. And let's see. We want to make sure that they're all, that whatever you're trying to put as your design, it needs to be at the same level as everything else that you want on your design. So I'm going to kind of open some of these up maybe and see, what if we do something like that? Yeah, so let's do that. So we need to make sure that those are all and what I mean by at the same level is these are all going to be the same height on my paper. And when I first was like putting it like this and going like this, well, this is higher than this. And so you're not going to get the same image as everything being flat at the same level. So then you'll get an image on the whole thing. Then what we're going to do is we're just going to use our heat tool. And I don't think that I don't believe that a hair dryer will get quite hot enough to do this. Move some of this stuff out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this right over top and heat it up for just a few seconds. And then turn it over and press it onto our design. And just hold it there for a few seconds to let it cool. You know, you'll have to kind of get an idea of how long to heat it and how long to hold it. You know, you'll kind of, as you go through, you'll get that idea. So there we go. And this is what this stamp is going to look like. So that's very cool. Let's set that one aside. And then let's see what it looks like with some twine. It also looks really great, which I don't have any, but it looks really great with like chain. If you have some chain, just a necklace or something. And I'm going to cut this off. And because they're peg stamps, they're very small, so we don't have a lot of room. Like I could do this and that really kind of looks cool, but the thing is that only just not hardly any of it's going to get on our stamp because our stamp is very small. So what if I just, and you also could take this and glue it into a small shape, let the glue dry, and then I don't know if this is going to be like solid enough to make a design. So we're going to find that out. Let's maybe put those like that, closer together a little bit because our peg stamp is very small. And let's see if that will be solid enough to make a design. You don't really want to hold on to your block while you're heating it because your heat tool should be hot when you heat it. And you don't want to burn yourself. And set it on a surface that you're not going to hurt the surface by it getting hot. I'm just going to press that down. Maybe like 10 seconds or something like that. But you do have to let it cool down. If you don't let it cool down and it's still warm when you take it away, what's going to happen is because it's still warm, see, this is still got that nice design on it because it had cooled down. And if it was still warm, then it would kind of fluff back up a little bit. If you make a design that you don't like, all you have to do to get rid of it is just heat it up, and it will just flatten right back out again. So, and you can kind of tell too, like, you know, your block is kind of warm, so you can tell when you're holding it, as your block cools down, you can tell that it's cool. And so this one looks like that. This one's not very deep at all. You know, it's like, it might be okay, it might not. We'll try it, because you just don't know really until you try them what they're going to look like. Now let's try a button. And so the thing when you're doing a button is you want something that has fairly big holes for your foam to kind of go into, and very possibly with the button we might not get the look of the holes, because we want to press down into those as much as we're pressing down onto the others, and that may or may not happen. I don't know exactly how to say it, but after we try it, then I'll tell you whether it worked or not and why I think it worked or not. So we're just going to heat this up, and if you kind of watch it, it doesn't really change colors, but the look changes a little bit. So we're going to put that right on the button. Give it a press. Now I'm going to press kind of hard because I really want to try and press that into those holes so that we get enough foam into the holes that the level will be high enough that when we stamp it, the ink will take to the little dots and then actually put them on your paper. So again, we're going to leave it till we think it's cooled, and I can still feel that it's quite warm. So definitely with this one, with those little tiny holes we're trying to get into, I don't want to lift it too quickly. At the very least, we'll wind up with a circle. And then again, that was a pretty big button, so we may not really wind up with a circle. The button might be a little bigger than the... And there we go. So here we go. This is what it looks like. Now, these edges over here are higher than the little bumps on the button. So if we put ink on this, we're going to ink it, and the only place the ink is going to touch is around the outside edge. It's not going to get ink on those because they don't stick out far enough. So that one is just, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to heat that back up. And I just wanted to show you, now it's gone. So maybe we could do just a couple of little tiny buttons. They're not going to look like buttons. Even they might look like buttons when you look at them. They may look like buttons, but the holes are not going to fill in enough for you to get that actual dot when you stamp it. But this one I'm just looking for just the outside shape then. And because they were kind of wide, I put my block at an angle because I got a little bit more space by doing that instead of just going straight up and down across the buttons. So we just want to make sure we hold it long enough. And for next week, we're just going to play with things that we already have in our stash. And I'm trying to get as many done ahead of time as I can. So this is what this one looks like. Now, we came off the edge here, so I'm thinking this one's not going to be real great, but we'll try it and see. If it's not good, we'll just use one of the other sides. Wonder about, I see some Well, of course, I saw more than one, but they probably moved to the bottom. Jump rings. There we go. Let's try these jump rings and see what they do. And whatever you're using doesn't have to be super thick. It's going to move that foam back out of your way. So even though this is thin wire, it should still work fine. I'm going to flatten them out because right now they're just a little offset like jump rings are. And the thing is, if you touch them right next to each other, exactly next to each other, like touching, then what's going to happen is you'll have like basically I want to say like a blob right there. You won't have the whole circle because where they touch, that's going to just press all as one part. So you want to try and leave a little bit of a gap between, if you're doing more than one thing, a little gap between it so that you have the definition. And you want things that are small enough to fit on your little block. Because peg stamps are supposed to be small. I thought maybe we could make a little design with our toothpicks. There we go. I think that one's going to be pretty cool. So nice solid things that are all the same level. Now a toothpick is not the same level. The pointy part is thinner than the rest of it, but it should still basically press to a point. And so what I thought maybe we'd do here is you could also do something like use a piece of tape to tape these together across the bottom so that they don't move. Because I want to try and leave a space. But I also want them to be fairly close. They either want to be too close or not close enough. There we go. And this one, try moving this end. Okay, let's see if we can get that pattern. Just tall, short, tall, short. I don't know if they moved or not. We'll have to find out. Then the other thing is you could do something on an angle on your peg stamp to make it kind of like a corner. And then, you know, go around 4 times and make a design that way. Oh, there we go. That looks pretty cool. I think that's going to be all right. Let's see if I can do what I was talking about. Okay, so let's put these like there we go. So you can just look around and find anything that's real solid, because the rope didn't work very well. And, well, we don't know that for sure. We haven't tried it yet, but it doesn't look like it worked real well. things like washers. You know, cogs if you have some, chain from a necklace, ball chain, you know, rings of sorts like these, but washers and that type of thing also. And, you know, just all sorts of things. The end of a fork will give you something that looks kind of like that, except, you know, they'll be more the same length. Okay, so there we go. That's okay. It'll do what I want to show you anyways. And I don't really have a whole lot more to try. Those were the things that I brought out. Oh, I actually brought this out because I wanted to try this. This has got little ribs on it, and so I thought that that might actually be kind of cool to press this on there and see what it does. So we'll see what this does, and then we'll test them all out and see how they work. So that's kind of cool. That might be neat. Alrighty, so I've got some ink here. And I didn't bring out a piece of paper. Let me grab a piece of paper out of here. These can be really fun in little mixed media projects, but I hate them on my paper when I'm just using it as paper. Alright, so let's see. What shall we try first? Let's try the one that I think won't work first. Oh, and didn't really think about it, but these are almost the exact same size as our little stamp pads. So there we got that. Now, when you do these, when you're using them as a stamp, you don't want to press down super hard. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, I don't mind that. Now, the one other thing that you can do with them is you can line them up and kind of make a pattern with them. Which is what I was kind of talking about if you do the corner. And they're not necessarily going to be perfect, and that is totally fine. That's what's making your own product is like. Because it didn't come off a machine in a factory. It came out of your head, and it's your design, and it's handmade. So obviously it's not going to be have as much precision as something that was made in the factory. That's enough of that one. Well, I already did it, so I might as well do it one more time. I really like the way that this one's working. That's funny. The one that I thought I was not going to work, and I have to do one more because I need this. I need it to be open on the end like that one. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. You've missed the last 2 or 3. There we go. But that's awesome. That's really awesome. I like it. So there's that one. And what you can do too is you can number them. You can just use a pen. Thought I had one here. And so you can make yourself a pattern sheet, and this is like number 1. And so then just on the back of this you just put, well, maybe put it on the, well, we don't need to put, I was going to say we're going to put a handle on the back, but we don't need to because these are big enough that they don't need a handle. So that's number 1. Now we know what number 1 looks like, especially if you get some that are kind of close together in the way that they look, but when you stamp them, they look different. So sometimes you can't necessarily 100% tell. Go this way. And there we go. See what they look like lined up. Look at what nice borders these would make. But this one is not as good as this one because I love that. I love the way that that pattern fits together like that. All right, so this is number 2. And put it on the back. Okay, so now the one that I put in the corner, which it didn't work as good as I wanted it to, but I'm going to show you what I meant anyways. What you want is you want your pattern to come to the corner. All 3 of these should have been closer to the corner instead of just this one. But what you can do with that is, okay, now the one thing that I want to do before I forget is I want to mark this as my corner that has the point to it. And what I mean by that is, you know, the corner that everything is converging on. So I'm going to go like this. Now that corner is right here. And then I still want this corner to be right in the middle, so I'm going to go like this. Make sure that that corner is in the middle, like this. And one more time, make sure that corner is in the middle. Like that. And of course you'll be a little bit more careful, but it makes a really cool pattern, and had all of them come to the middle, it would have even been a little bit better. But that still turned out good because it is homemade. If I don't like it and I don't want to keep it, I'm not going to number it because I'm just going to heat it up and use it again for another one. Okay, so number 4. I can't tell if this is getting on here or not. Yeah, it did. And I'm doing this one the same way. If I turned it over, I don't think that it would line up. We'll see. We'll try right up here at the top. I think that it will be offset because it's not right in the middle. Yeah, see, it's offset. Still looks cool though. Show you that a little bit closer. Now see, had I got that right in the middle, then they would have lined up and it would have made an oval. But, so that one's cool. So that's number 4. And put it on here so that I don't forget. Oh, this is this one. I'm really curious to see what this one looks like. Not as amazing as I thought it was going to be. messed that one up. That's number 5. And it actually, the first one stamped a little light, but the rest of them, you know, I mean, it's kind of cool. The one that I really thought I was going to wind up getting rid of so far is my favorite. So this one is our toothpicks. Okay, this one. Would make great grass. So it doesn't really look good this way, but it does look good this way. This would make great grass on a card or a picture that you're doing. So that's number, is that number 6? And our very last one here. Yeah, this one didn't really do much of anything. Although, it's not too bad. Once you, and that's the thing. Oh, and actually, as I was getting more and more ink on it, the little teeny tiny holes were showing up more. So that's number 7. So there we go. These are our reverse stamps. And actually, I don't have any that I think I will melt down and get rid of because I like them all in their own way. And this one, at first, when I did just one, sometimes you have to try them in a line or try them in a square, or like this one I flipped up the other way, so now it looks like grass. Sometimes you have to try them in different patterns to see if you really like them or not. Because maybe just, you know, like when I did this first one, yeah, it was okay. I didn't really care for it. And then in a line, but then when I put it over here, I flipped it upside down and put it over here, and for some reason I like that pattern. So sometimes you just have to try them in different ways before you decide for sure you want to get rid of them. But there we go. We made 7 reverse peg stamps in less than a half an hour. And now we have those to play with. So I really do appreciate you stopping by. Thank you very much for all of your support. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.